Today I'm taking a look at two fun mid-rangers. I've got the Galaxy A56 and I've also got Honor's 200 from last year. Now the only reason I'm comparing these two really price-wise is because my Galaxy A56 I picked up for 250 quid, which is about the price that the Honor 200 goes for. So let's dive in. So first up, looks and feel. The A56 is solid and IP67 rated, so yeah, it won't cry if it takes a splash. It's about 198 grams, feels premium thanks to the Gorilla Glass and sturdy build. And meanwhile, the Honor 200 is plastic, a hair lighter at 187 grams, but it has a curved design and a slightly more classy vibe. It's not IP rated, but it's got that sleeker, nice to hold factor. And really in the hand, the A56 is certainly the more sturdier device, but if you want something that's definitely a little bit more lightweight, definitely go for the Honor 200. And the A56 flexes a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, Full HD Plus resolution, 120Hz, and just a shade under 2000 nits of peak brightness. The Honor matches the 6.7-inch display, but uses a POLED panel, 120Hz as well, but cranks it up to a scorching 4000 nits of peak brightness. So of course that's really going to be in a select few cases that you'll get that 4000 nits of peak brightness, but brighter is brighter, so if you want that, the Honor 200 is definitely going to be the option. Bezels are pretty slim on both of these phones as well. You get those punch hole cutouts with the selfie cameras, and the display on the Honor 200 is ever so slightly curved as well. So if you want a completely flat display, certainly go for the A56, but if you don't mind a few subtle curves around the edges, the Honor 200 is a stunning panel. So let's talk brains. The A56 runs on Samsung's Exynos 1580, paired with Android 15 and One UI 7, and future-proofing with 6 years of promised updates. Honor's got the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 under the hood. It is now rocking Android 15, but it has only got 4 years of Android updates. So the A56 has got that longer software support, and it's made even longer thanks to the fact that the Honor 200 is a year older as well. So if you want software longevity, the Galaxy A56 is definitely going to be the best option. And the Galaxy A56 gives you 8 or 12 gigs of RAM and storage up to 256 gigabytes, although there's no micro SD card expansion. Honor one-ups with 8, 12 or 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs or a whopping 512 gigs of storage, so there's definitely more space for your apps, photos and all your other bits. And there's also no micro SD card expansion with the Honor 200, so if you want the option to have the highest possible RAM and storage, the Honor 200 is definitely the option. Now onto the battery of both of these phones, and to be honest, this is a clear win for Honor. The Galaxy A56 packs a 5000 mAh battery with support for 45 watt fast charging, which will get you around 60% in 30 minutes. But Honor pulls way ahead with a bigger 5200 mAh cell and a whopping 100 watt charging, which will get you that 60% in around 50 minutes with a compatible charger. And I have personally used both of these phones for around a week or so, and the Honor 200 definitely gets you that better battery life and of course that much faster charging. So if that's something that you prioritize, the Honor 200 again is the better option, but that's not to say the A56 is bad. It offers some really great battery life still, easily gets me through a full day of pretty moderate use. Right, so onto these cameras, and they're similar, but not quite the same. The Galaxy A56 rocks a 50 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, plus a 12 megapixel ultra wide and 5 megapixel macro, and it's also got a 12 megapixel selfie camera. Honor's setup is very similar, 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, but a third camera is actually a 50 megapixel 2.5x telephoto camera, and you also get a higher resolution 50 megapixel selfie camera. So in terms of the camera capabilities and flexibility, Honor has got the win here. I do find a telephoto camera much more useful than a 5 megapixel macro camera or macro cameras in general. And photos coming from both of these phones from their main cameras, Samsung's got that usual Samsung look with just that little extra pop. They both got plenty of detail, good dynamic range. Overall, I don't think you can go too wrong with the cameras from both of these phones. The ultra wide, both 12 megapixels, both lose a little bit of detail around the edges, but color doesn't deviate too much from that main camera. And then of course, zoom shots, Honor 200 has the win here with that 2.5x telephoto, but Samsung still can push to that sort of focal length without a huge amount of issues. And then Samsung's got that macro camera, which isn't really anything too exciting. And then you've got that 50 megapixel selfie camera on the Honor 200, which doesn't really translate to hugely better photos. I still think the 12 megapixels on the A56 actually produces some really nice photos. And both phones can also shoot 4K video from those main and selfie cameras. Here's a few samples here. Do let me know down in the comments what you think of this video. And then when it comes to software on both of these phones, this is, as mentioned before, an area where Samsung definitely pulls ahead. Samsung's 6 years of updates is a massive buy once, stay updated for years. Honor's not on that update marathon, but they're still packing some pretty good AI-based photo tools and smooth Magic OS feels. Personally, I'm torn because One UI and Magic OS are two of my favorite software skins. Both have plenty of customization options with themes, wallpapers, and all that sort of stuff to really customize your phone to how you want it to look. But like I said before, if you want a phone that's going to get you longer software support, the Galaxy is the clear winner here. You do get some updates, like I said, with the Honor 200, but it doesn't match the Galaxy. So overall, that's my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A56 and the Honor 200. Let me know down in the comments which one you pick out of these two phones. The Galaxy has a more premium build and longer software support, whereas the Honor 200 has a more flexible camera, a lighter build, super 100-watt fast charging, and a larger battery. But again, let me know down in the comments. I've also got a comparison between the A56 and the newer Honor 400. Check that video down on my channel. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.